Come on, Ian, bro. Come on.
As Ian Wright said there, people deluded. I'm back again. I got Zara in the building, special guest settings. We got a lot to discuss, my boy. How you feeling? What you saying?
Good. Well, first things first, unfootball related. It's a big morning here in the States. I'm sure you're aware of what's going on over here. But football related, ah, it's I don't know, man. Arsenal has me stressing. I'm not enjoying life lately, deluded, bro. It's been brutal. It's been brutal, my bro.
Before we get into that, because you mentioned it, yeah, obviously being an American, well, not an American, but living in America, like, how does it feel with Trump becoming president again?
So here's the thing. This country is so divided. Depending on where you live, it's two completely different worlds. I'm in the cities, in the big cities, you are insulated. It's Democrat country. It's a completely different
Multicultural now.
world as opposed to outside. So where I'm at, I'm in a very blue city. I'm in Chicago. People seem to be very upset. People seem to be very upset where I'm at, which is to be expected since their candidate did not win. Illinois also is a very blue state, so yeah, no, the mood is kind of grim, kind of worried. People think it's doomsday, but I'm like, listen, he was president already before. We're all still alive. It's I don't know why people are going crazy. I'm not a fan of him. I'm not a fan of the other side, but it's chaos. This place is it's politics is just a divide.
Sounds like us in the United Kingdom. Sounds like just about anywhere among the
Yeah,
world,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. You guys
it's
have
mad.
your madness with Ken getting boxes at the Emirates and all that, and
And the budget he announced as well, which is just crippling people that don't have a chance. But I think it's the current theme around the whole world, man. Let's get
yeah.
into football, though, man. You touched on it, yeah, and I'm sure I know why. But why has Arsenal got you stressed out? You mentioned being stressful. Like, we've only got 3 losses. Some would say in 2024. Why are you stressing?
They're
28
not
Premier League games left.
they're not showing me anything, bro. They're not showing me anything. That Newcastle game was an absolute disaster. If we're being completely honest, it was. It was embarrassing. I feel like I've seen better efforts from worse Arsenal teams. I've seen better
So worse
efforts
than the Bournemouth
from
game for you.
yeah, yeah,
Fair.
yeah. Because the Bournemouth. Here's the thing about the Bournemouth game. I don't like playing the what if games and all that, but at 30 minutes that game changes completely. Us going a man down. We had to 11 men the entire game, the entire 90 minutes for this game, and we were so uninspiring, deluded. We didn't do anything. We didn't create a single chance. How many shots on target? I think it was one, zero,
One, if
one.
that. Yeah, we had one, and I think that
The
was in the 27th
Marino
minute.
was it the Marino one? The Marino
Yeah,
thing that was cleared off the line.
yeah.
Just that, literally that. The Newcastle goal, we were beaten 1-0. Newcastle didn't do anything. That's also what pisses me off about that game. Newcastle did not do anything whatsoever in that entire game. The goal came from, of course, Gabriel Magalhaes was coming off. He wasn't he hadn't been playing. He had the injury problem. He had been taken off the previous game. The injury problem coming back from that. It seemed like beginning of that game he was completely off pace. He was struggling with the speed of the game and all that, and we were literally caught out by him misreading the cross, and the cross from, I think it Lewis Hall. I think
Gordon.
it might have been Lewis Hall that put it into to
No, that
Isak.
was Anthony Gordon from the right
Oh,
hand
was
side.
Gordon?
Yeah,
Sorry, my
Gordon
bad.
for Isak.
Anthony Gordon on the right side put it into Isak. It was literally just a perfect ball on his head. Perfect ball on his head. Magalhaes misjudged the flight. Apart from that,
Saliba and Rice
and
didn't do much either as well. It was
yeah,
poor, man.
yeah. Apart from that, even Ben White too on closing down Gordon. He could have done a bit better. But apart from that, Newcastle did not do anything for the 90 minutes, bro. And that's what's painful, is that for an entire 90 minutes where the opposing team did nothing whatsoever, you don't even walk out with a point. That is what is so deflating, How do we go 90 minutes? Honestly, how do we go 90 minutes without creating a chance? How? It's that's what I'm asking myself. I don't care. I don't care who's on the field. I don't care who's on the field. I don't care about the formation. I don't. How do you go an entire 90? It's almost statistically impossible, bro, to go an entire 90 minutes without even creating a chance, without doing anything, and we did it. And people are talking about Arteta this, Arteta that. I'm not the Arteta thing. I'm not even participating in those discussions. He just signed a contract. There's no point. We'll talk about that at the end of the season. He's there. This Arteta in out nonsense. Just shut up about that. I don't care about the tactics. The players on the field, bro. On the field. I don't care whether the tactics are this. Like, just have some. I saw nothing. Have some freaking pride in your performance. Like, try even do something. Even if the manager tells you do that, try do something, bro. It was just so deflating. It ruined my entire weekend because that game was at 7:30 a.m. on a Saturday.
Yeah. I'm complaining about the fact that it was 12:30 in the United Kingdom. You have to wake up at stupid o'clock to watch that, man.
That was the first thing I saw. That was the first thing I saw for my weekend. I literally
just set the tone for your weekend. Yeah.
There's the door to my room. I walked out of that room, sat on this couch right here, and that's literally the first thing I did on Saturday. I watched that disaster of a performance. I was meant to have a stress-free Saturday, but I just couldn't. Bro, I didn't watch any other games on Saturday. I couldn't watch football.
That's how much it hurt you.
I switched sports. I went to rugby. I went and I was watching the whole England. What's scaring me the most. I'm an optimistic person when it comes to Arsenal. I'm an optimistic person. Where is the light at the end of the tunnel? I can't really see it. I'm hoping I kind of saw it yesterday in the footage that I saw coming out of, what's it called now? I don't know what Colney is called now. Sober, whatever the hell it's called.
No, our training ground. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just call it London Colney to me, man.
That's what it is. It's London Colney.
Yeah, I don't know about the new sponsorship, man.
The only glimpse, the only thing I'm clutching at, I'm literally clutching at straws. It's not even, it's a straw trying to hold up a 60, 70 kg man kind of thing. I'm literally clutching at that. And that is the image that I saw of my captain coming back. He's now fit. I am hoping he comes in with some sort of Harry Potter wizardry thing that just goes whoop and changes the fortunes of everybody.
Do you think that can happen though? Because a lot of people are saying, with our lack of creativity, wait till Martin Odegaard comes back and, we're kind of all right. Like, where do you stand on that?
My brother, the funny thing about life is just even in anything, not even just in sport, just in anything in life, you just never know. All it takes is a moment. It's not even a player. It could be something as simple as a tackle. Just one tackle could change our season like that. So that's why I'm saying I am literally clutching at straws that I've been reaching for things. I've been like, okay, maybe going to St. James's Park will inspire. Nope, that straw broke. Maybe this, that. Nope, that straw broke. My last straw now that I have is, maybe Odegaard. Maybe Odegaard comes in. Boom, I'm holding on to that. And hopefully today, later on today, we that builds a positive impact. But yeah, I'm praying. I think, and this is the thing, I don't want to get my hopes up. He literally does. He changes both sides of our game. He changes both our attack and our defense. He's our best defender. It's funny to say. Our best defender is our most advanced person. Him
and Havertz lead the press.
Leader of the press. That in that instance. So if we get that back, we get the creativity back, and hopefully that changes the fortunes and inspires those around. People like Raheem Sterling need inspiration. People like Gabriel Jesus need inspiration. People like Gabriel Martinelli need inspiration. The whole fucking front line needs inspiration.
So where do you look at Mikel Arteta then? Because obviously, there's still 28 Premier League games to play. On the face of it, we have only lost 3 games this year, but it does look like we're in a bit of a rut. If all the players aren't performing, then surely the manager's got to take some blame. Our defenders are not defending to those high standards. Any injuries can happen at any given stage. Don't have an option for Odegaard. yeah, nothing's really going right from a tactical point. So does it make you view Mikel Arteta differently? I know you said, and I think you're right for what it's worth, it's kind of irrelevant because he signed a new deal and all of that stuff. But where are you looking at with Mikel Arteta? And also, do you feel we're actually making things harder than it needs to be for ourselves?
Wait, sorry, what was that? Well, sorry, what was that last part? I
Do you
missed the
think
last
we're
part.
also making things harder than it needs to be for ourselves?
Yes, yes. Trying to tinkering too much with the system, trying to tinker too much with the system. Partey moving to right back when we have. I don't know if I'm assuming White. Arteta would say that White probably wasn't fit enough to play, but if you're on the bench, surely you're fit enough to play, kind of thing. So tinkering with the system, trying to be too cute and all that. Just stick to one thing and let's fight out. Let's fight it out through with that one. Don't try and move too many moving parts around. People work in units. You need to get used to
Facts.
working with the people around you, get understanding the spaces, how you move around. So if like Partey occupies this space and White there, and then now you're moving Partey to do this, to that. That's you moving around too many different people.
Too many moving pieces, man.
Doing too much on Arteta himself. So the firing thing, the in out. I'm not discussing that. The how much does he have to blame? He holds 100% of the blame because he's the manager. He's the manager. He sets up the tactics. He sets up the play. He sets up he picks the players. He picks the lineup, sets up the tactics, and results ultimately fall on him. However, what I don't like in this situation, and what I saw a little bit of, and this is just natural in football and in sports in general, is whenever it goes wrong, the responsibility, yes, it does ultimately lie on the coach, but that's literally where it ends. That's the end all be. That's where it starts, where it ends. And I don't agree with that. Yes, he sets up the tactics, he signs the players and all that. But at the end of the day, as Arsene Wenger says, I am the coach. But when it sorry about that. When it
Minor,
comes
man.
to the actual playing, I can't be out there. It's you that is out there, sitting there in that position that is facing the 6 billion or so unique situations that you're in, that you have to make a decision in a 90-minute game. That, all right, so do I run press him? Do I hold back? How do I receive this pass? Do I look this way? Do I scan now? Do I do that? It ultimately is the players. So yes, Arteta can inspire them and set up all the tactics and all that. And yes, it goes left and all. And yes, ultimately, it's a results-driven business that it falls on the manager. But we also have to acknowledge the fact that he is putting trust, and which is exactly the sort that he falls on. He's putting trust in 11 people that he has no ultimate control of moving them physically, grabbing them and doing that and hoping that it works out. So players do need to take a lot of responsibility. The issue with the Arsenal fan base is whenever anything goes wrong, which I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but most people, the gun is just pointed. Once it's just automatically the gun is pointed at Arteta, and people don't even take a step back to evaluate the situation, to actually think and see and actually understand what actually went wrong. It's just, oh, we lost Arteta. Boom. You don't even, brother, people that aren't even watching games, are logging onto their app.
Yeah, social media is crazy.
And they're seeing that it's 1-0 Newcastle, and automatically it's Arteta out. Did you even see what the fuck happened? No.
I think you're bang on the money. But though, I have to say, as much as I like Arteta, for you, if we don't turn, well, again, let's not even get into if we turn this around. If we don't win a trophy or we don't win the Premier League, away from Mikel Arteta getting sacked, how do you view him though? Because surely, if it would be the third time we've kind of been the nearly men, and now it's a case of getting over the line, how do you review Arteta then?
I think you're dancing around a
Now I'm
thing
just
that
trying to, I'm here for your thoughts, bro.
I'll shoot you straight. If there's no trophy at the end of the season, I want him out. That's it. It's a results-driven business, bro. I have fallen on the sword for this man. I have taken a lot of abuse online for this man. And that's why I don't want it to come across as I'm turning on him. I backed him through the worst times. These gray hairs that you see that are lining my dreadlocks, that's because I was out there. People, what 15? The clip. I mean, I was getting eaten alive.
Yeah.
He's getting eaten alive everywhere, walking around on the streets. Yo, I'm a joke and all that for this man. Arteta and Eddie. This is all Arteta and Eddie. This is all Arteta and Eddie. So that shows you that I like the guy, but at the end of the day, ultimately, I was there before Arteta was there. I was there during the Emery time. I was there during the Wenger time. What I'm trying to say is I'm an Arsenal fan, and I try my hardest to not get emotionally attached to a situation and think about what's actually good for the club, which is why I was very patient with him. I gave him time. If we listened to the majority of the fan base, bro, Arteta would have been fired
He would have been gone in his first year, man.
Yeah, 2-3 years ago, he would have been fired. We would not have had that run that we almost won twice and all that. And he would have been gone completely. Actually, if we listen to the fan base, Arteta would not have managed whatsoever. It would have been what was the guy? Allegri. It would have been Allegri.
Yo, several other names, man.
Yeah,
several.
So I am an Arteta guy, but I'm an Arsenal fan above all, and this is a results-driven business. This is we have to learn from the Wenger thing. We have to learn from the Wenger thing where we can't be if we can't go. So we're still on the up. We can't go into that rut.
Do you think we've gone down? Do you think we've hit a stagnation?
No. We're still on the up. It's and that's the thing. People, the problem is it's a what have you done for me today? It's a what have you done for me today, society. That's just how life works. So you're only as good as your last game. But if you take a step back and actually look, and actually it's a 2, 3, 4-year-old. If you actually look at over the 4-year-olds, it's still the trajectory is still up. But what I'm saying is I'm warning against that whole let's not let it go down, because getting out of that sinking hole, man, it's what it took us. We started going down probably, I'll say, I guess when we had to start selling our players, when we started building the stadium. So like what, 2020, when the stadium loans and all that. So like 2010, 2011, it took us till like 2019. It almost took us like 10 years to start working on getting out.
To be somewhat healthy again.
So it's let's not let that happen. And we need the trophies. It's just the game, there's so much money coming into the game now. So I'm thinking about this, right? Look at how fast City has grown, especially here, right? Here, America's the biggest.
Yeah, you probably got a bunch of City fans now.
America's the biggest economy on the planet. You know what Americans like? They don't give a damn about the story, about this is class. They
just want to be around winning.
They just worry about the record. Who is the winner? That is why City is picking up fans like no City in terms of growth. If the City fan base is the fastest growing fan base here in America, because they keep winning. They winning games 3-4-0 with Haaland and all. And the people here are buying all 3 jerseys. And that's how it's there's money to be had. So that's why Arsenal needs to, especially like here, bro, there are so many Arsenal fans here that are desperate. When we came so close to winning, look at what happened. Look at what happened the following season, the beginning of last season, the preseason ticket for Manchester United, the cheapest ticket to get into MetLife for a friendly, to sit up. These are football stadiums, not
in the bleachers, in the nosebleed seats.
This is 90,000 motherfuckers at a stadium. Nosebleed seats were going for hundreds of dollars. It's insane.
Damn. Would you be happy with an FA Cup or a League Cup?
That's a tough question. Would I be happy? No. Would I take them? So I like Arteta personally. Would I take them and use them as leverage to buy him some more time? It will depend on how our FA Cup run looks. You know, if it's a good run where we're knocking out a couple teams where the fan base gets a bit happy, then that adds more value to that particular cup. But what I want ultimately at the end of the day, the number one that I want, the one that I haven't seen, the Champions League is my number one.
Facts.
then Premier League. But one of them two is what ultimately I want from Arteta.
I mean, you mentioned if he doesn't win something in May, he has to go. Yeah, many people would say to that, who are Arsenal going to who's going to be the next manager then?
That's
So
also
like, what's the succession plan for you? Obviously, you're not an expert. Can't expect you to say, yeah, bring this guy and we're going to win the treble. But yeah,
that's also the other issue with firing somebody. The main issue with firing somebody is the availability and stuff like succession plans. So yeah, that's ooh. I wouldn't do because of how peak things are, for him at Madrid, bro. He might be done out here. Has he been fired yet?
no, but apparently there's pressure, and obviously we're not Real Madrid. But you could argue the caveat. You know, Carlos won a lot of stuff for Madrid. It's been great. It's not rosy at the moment, and he's walking a tightrope. And people would say Carlo Ancelotti, an experienced manager like that, isn't being given time. Why is a novice manager in Mikel Arteta, who's been here for 5 years, spoken about as being an innovator, 700 plus million? How is he being given that? That might even make you question the owners of the club?
Apples to oranges.
100%.
Two completely different situations. Madrid is a club that is already at the top.
But isn't that our being devil's advocate? Isn't it? Why we're not going to be there tomorrow? Ain't that our ambition to act like that? One thing we could do is act like that. We might not be Madrid, but we could act like that. Like Madrid don't necessarily have a succession plan, whether it's Xabi Alonso or whoever, and it's not guaranteed success. But yeah, being devil's advocate.
That, and you bring up some very, very valid points. And honestly, that ultimately comes down to our parents, our absentee parents and the Kroenkes. I hate them freaking clowns. These idiots are surprised. We're shocked. Edu left when we got an outside guy. When Vinay left, when we got a guy and put him right above. I mean, you just got to look at to find the reason why Edu left. It's so simple. Just look at the Arsenal organizational structure. Literally, it's Josh, it's the board, the CEO position, Edu, the other guy, and whatever, and whoever's under there, Arteta's probably under there. What Arsenal then did is they took this guy, and when Vinay was there, when Vinay left, that became vacant. Edu thought that he was the one moving up there. They took this guy and moved him to there. And that's why he left. Also offered 3 times more money. 3 times more money at that Forest. It's a different model. Instead of being in charge of just the men's, women's, and academy team, now he's different clubs and all
multi clubs and that. Yeah.
And the Kroenkes are this is all happening while Josh and freaking Stan are out in LA, or between LA and Tribeca in New York, not knowing anything about what's going on Arsenal. They only show up when Arsenal plays at Wembley because they want to have tea with Prince William. So of course.
To be fair, they were at the Emirates recently. I've
never seen them at the Emirates, bro. I've never seen them.
No, I think they might have been there versus Liverpool. I've never
seen them once. They only show up for our games at Wembley.
They 100% they do. Is it fair to just blame the Kroenkes? Because in a similar vein, as you said, like, it's not fair to just blame Mikel Arteta, right? But indirectly, everything's your fault. So Kroenkes have to hold that. But even though I agree with you, being devil's advocate, it might not be the best way, but they've shown ambition with a novice manager. They've given him a lot of money. We've spent 100 million on Declan Rice. Kai Havertz and David Raya, for example, and maybe even Calafiori and another left back. These might have not been unanimously agreed decisions in that board, as you said. But Arteta got his way, so they backed him. Since they've become full owners, they have spent money, and you could argue we made some good signings, but also we wasted a lot of money. So in the last, I would say 3 years, including now, really and truly, the last 2 years. Is it really fair to just blame the Kroenkes, or is any successes or failures surely purely on Edu and Arteta? Surely.
I will give them. Okay, so you know what? I'll give them credit. My hatred for them comes from that period where they were in the standoff with Usmanov. So they started buying shares in 2007, and with the Kroenkes took the majority control, took over majority control of the club. So they weren't the 100% owners, but they had the most shares. So they started buying in 2007. They had the most shares in 2011. So from 2011 till 2018, they refused because they didn't have ultimate ownership. they refused to put heavy investment because they were in that battle. They were in that battle with Usmanov for who's gonna buy the
That's a
club.
good point. That
And
kind of stagnated our
ultimately,
club. There was a position of
that
power.
that right there was Arsenal's downfall. That power struggle right there was Arsenal's downfall, and that is what we're paying for up until today. Because what happened in that period is that we were stagnant for the so it was 2011 till they started pumping money. What 2019, 2018, 2019 for those 8, 9 years, we were stagnant. And if you just take a step back and think and look at what was happening around us, that's when the city owners came in. That's a period when the Arab money was moving in. That's other clubs were just moving and growing.
Chelsea was
When
still
we
up there.
were,
United left. Ferguson left, but they were still
yeah,
up there.
the game is getting more popular here. It's getting bigger globally, and this is when you should be pumping more money to to get your base right. So you're proper invested. But that's where my ultimate beef comes from them right now. Once they took full ownership, man, they started. I mean, we paid 120 mil for Declan Rice. We
Exactly.
did.
And then you could argue, even with Declan Rice, I don't agree with this, but Mikel Arteta's got a well-established, potentially world-class, excluding Rodri, best in his position in the six. He's made him an 8. So sometimes the tools haven't been there. Like Kai Havertz is doing well, but you could argue it's nothing to do with Kai Havertz now. It's purely the role he has in the team. And let's be honest, we kind of failed upwards with Kai Havertz. We tried to do the midfield thing.
Yeah, yeah.
It didn't work. So it's like, obviously Mikel Arteta is still learning on the job, and maybe not so much in this current climate, but one thing I give him credit for is he does seem to learn from his mistakes. But it does feel like, I agree in that generally I don't feel we want to. I think we'd like to win with the Cronkies. I don't think they like it's winning or dying sort of thing.
They don't
Like
prioritize winning.
yeah, I don't think they're on that. I think they're quite happy. I personally feel if we win an FA Cup or a League Cup and we finish in the top 3 positions, they will still like hide behind the fact that it's progress. Where that would annoy me though is like, even if you go and read Edu's closing statement where Josh has said we're going to find someone that reflects our ambitions to win trophies. You probably saw it as much as me in May. You saw the speeches of Odegaard and Arteta. Arteta keeps talking about trophies. It's like we're in a very complacent way of doing it. Now, of course, we can't go too far to the right where some fans want us to spend 300 million on a player, but it does feel like isolated to the variables, regardless of stand and whatnot. Mikel Arteta has done a lot of good things for me, bro, but he's also made a lot of self-inflicted errors. Like I feel the last 2 years, for example, the best thing and the worst thing I can give Arteta is I feel I don't look at City. Take nothing away from City. They're the big bad bullies. They've done all of this stuff, but we didn't win these last 2 league titles or one of the 2. I genuinely think it's down to us. It's down to what we didn't do or did do in the transfer market. It's down to us probably prolonging those little barren spells. And obviously, in it, you can't win them all. But in a day and age where we know about fine margins, you look at the fact that we was 2 points off, and really and truly, it is a reflection because the table don't lie. But me and you from last season, me and you could sit there and speak of numerous kind of games where that happened. So it's like, how much do you really get at the Cronkies? Because I know they're not, as you said, the Arab money and things, but we know they, and you know more than me because you're in America, they got all the other sports, but it seems like they put people in positions to kind of leave them to their own devices. And I can't lie.
Yeah.
I think since Josh Kroenke started to become slightly more of a prominent face around the Emirates, it looks a bit better. Even I'm by no means defending them. I'm just thinking like, how much can we talk about because I do think there's not saying you or anyone, but and balanced conversation and whatnot. But it feels like you either get the people that are to the far right where Mikel Arteta get out, they want to cut off his head off. And then I do think when things go well, we gas up Arteta. When things go wrong, we're trying to look at everything beyond the manager to a degree where we talk about collaboration, bro. Everyone's got to hold that. It's like when you're younger, if you're in your grandma's house with a bunch of your cousins, someone breaks a vase, your grandma's not going to ask you who did it. Everybody's getting beats. It's as simple as that. Everyone's getting hurt. Sure.
With the Cronkies, my resentment, I think literally, if I'm being objective, I gotta say, once they bought, once they bought fully, they are very good owners. They looking at it objective, because I mean, look, we're not in trouble financially, health wise. The books are green. The books are green, and this is through no care packages like other clubs get and all that. Debt wise, we're fine, and also that I really got to give to them. They're very good owners in that sense, and they're good in the sense that it's not they understand their limitations. They understand their limitations. They understand that they're businessmen. They're not football guys. So yeah, they build those structures, as you said. They build those structures, put the structure in place. Boom, the structure's there in place. They're not messing around and saying, Stan Kroenke's not saying, I want this striker, I want this striker, I want that striker. He doesn't know. So, like, I mean, Abramovich used to do that with Chelsea, but at least he was actually involved in football and actually knew. So he knew if he was recommending somebody, he actually knows what he's talking about. They understand their limitations, and them not getting involved and just just looking after the money side is very good in that sense. So yeah, I mean, I again, my bitterness stems from that one period. They are good owners, and even their franchises here, I mean, they're very successful. What they've done with the Rams fans hate them because they moved the team.
Yeah, moving to another state and that.
In terms of the team balance sheet, if you look at the team's balance sheet, that team went from being worth 300, however many 100 mils to now over 6 billion or something crazy. I mean, SoFi Stadium is now it's now vying for World Cup finals and all that nonsense. So in that sense, they're good. I want to ask you something. The big news and all that. That's the part I kind of touched on it with the Edu leaving and all that.
I'm so happy, man, because that was one thing we needed to get into, man. Go ahead.
First things first. Are you an Edu guy? I never was an Edu guy.
I can't say I'm an Edu guy. I can't say I'm an Edu guy. My feelings.
What do you?
No, my feelings for Edu are indifferent because I think I can't see what you're doing on the footballing field. I mean, I can't see what you're doing with transfers. If Arteta, I can't see. Fair enough. I can't see what Arteta is doing in the training ground, but I can see on the weekend what you are or aren't doing and criticize. The same for the players. I can't see that for Edu, and I do think it's a double-edged sword in the sense of if Edu is sitting there, as we see, half of these players. If we look at Calafiori, I'm not against it, but apparently there was concerns based via the Athletic about bringing in another left back. But Mikel Arteta pushed for that. We heard that at the time of us wanting Ramsdale. Yeah, at the time of us having Ramsdale, I'm not saying I'm not happy with Raya. Mikel Arteta's job is, Mikel Arteta's job is to obviously find, ways to improve when there's not. And it's fair to say Raya's worked out as an upgrade, right? But at the time, Ramsdale, PFA, talking about England, people saying, we buying another goalie. Apparently, there was the same concerns. Mikel Arteta pushed for that. Apparently, Edu and people had concerns about Kai Havertz. Mikel Arteta pushed for that. So I know you looked at this, you said the structure, and obviously, if you looked at it on paper, Edu's ahead of Arteta. But for me, it seems like Arteta's voice is a bit more heavy. So is Edu crippled? Now, where I look at Edu, I give you your credit for doing your part to rebuild. I feel you took a step in the right direction with the Balogun sale, Smith Rowe, Eddie Nketiah, but you weren't really that good at sales. I don't feel you pulled a rabbit out the hat. Like, I'm not going to kill you for the signings that you helped us. Even Jesus and Zinchenko helped us to a point. And I'm not saying it's easy, but they're fairly established players. They've got a foot out the door. Just go and get it done. So you showed competency. I don't really feel you for Arteta enough, because again, I look at this summer, we're scrambling around for Raheem Sterling, and that's down to Edu's incompetence. We're not getting in that winger. You tried for Sesko, that didn't happen. You didn't get another striker. Take nothing away from Kai Havertz, but maybe the burden is too high for him to hold. And we took long to sign Mikel Moreno. We scrambled around for goalie. So I don't think Edu was terrible, but I would have liked someone, and I don't know who, someone with a bit more experience, someone that can pull a rabbit out the hat, someone that utilizes their contacts better, because it's a weird one when you look at Edu, because it seems like he's highly rated in the footballing world. As you said, my man's gone on doing the next job. He was wanted by PSG. He won an award. Yeah. There's got to be something, but yeah, I can't say I'll miss Edu. One love for doing your bit to kind of rebuild us. As this comment says, I think Edu and Mikel Arteta did bring stability and consistency back. And I think everybody can see that, but we can't keep one love for that, but we can't keep looking at that. The thing now is to stop being the bridesmaid and start being the grooms, to stop being the nearly men. I think I speak for every Arsenal fan. We'd love to win every game, win every trophy, but there's just little opportunities. And I like the long-term project, but I just feel while we're ticking up, there's going to be a point where there's stagnation. And I don't think Mikel Arteta is challenged enough. And I give the example in that I think if Mikel Arteta was Arsene Wenger, Edu needed to be David Dean. Like, David Dean used to save Wenger from his madness. Like, when he's going a bit too far, he'd save him from that. And right now, it doesn't look like there's any footballing men on the board at Arsenal. When you've got Mikel Arteta that knows a lot about football, clearly a young, innovative manager that's going to achieve stuff, that's my issue. My biggest thing with Arsenal right now is, away from stability and all of that, we need to take advantage of the opportunities we had, which we didn't do in the last 2 years. Liverpool are flying under Arne Slot, but it's still early days. We don't know what City's going to look like after Pep. Chelsea are going to get their ship together. Don't know what United look like under Amorim. Suddenly, when everyone gets their ship together, and we're not just going to stand still, it's a mad playing field, bro. So Yeah, with Edu, bro, like I give you a 5 out of 10. Really, I don't really think I'm gonna miss you. As I said, you didn't pull a rabbit out of the hat. Don't think you did anything mad in terms of sales or incomings. Just think you were somewhat competent. But I do think your voice weren't as loud as it could have been, if I'm honest, in that boardroom, man. Where are you at with that? What do you even think that means? What it means for Arteta as well?
I am 1,000% with you. Edu has been underwhelming, especially these last 2 years when our brand leverage wise. So Edu's been underwhelming on both sides. I feel the I don't know, and that's also now part of the reason, the rumor, part of the reason why he left. Oh, Arteta has more power with signings and all that. So now you actually don't know who the ultimate decision maker is. Is it ultimately on Edu or whatever? But that's neither here nor there.
They need to hurry up and get someone in because we've got
I'm just
key
going to
players
assume.
next summer with 2 years on their deal, bro.
True. I'm going to assume the sporting director, he was part of the transfers. These last 2 summers, our brand is at the outgoings. We hardly could. He was in charge of the cleaning up.
Big him up for Balogun, Eddie and Nketiah, Smith Rowe. Beyond that, he ain't really do nothing in terms of
tough
sales.
contracts to get rid of. They were very tough contracts. That mess that we had with we needed to get rid of everybody.
But he's putting them dons on big contracts. Like it's gonna sound mad, but I understand why Eddie Nketiah was on 100 grand. You're a young-ish 20-year-old. Yeah. You signed a 4 or 5 year deal. Inflation and all that. But then, as an ignorant fan, you've crippled it now. You've put Cedric on 100 grand. You've put my man on 100 grand. Yeah. You're making it difficult. And I feel Edu and Arteta, as much as it's easy for me to criticize and not knowing everything, it don't feel like we've learned from our mistakes. And also, I feel a lot of Arsenal fans do this. We tried thing. One love for trying. If you try to do your job on Barstool, but you don't do a good job, you're not working there, bro. If I try to be a good boyfriend to a girl and I'm not, she's going to leave me for someone else. So how far does that go? One love for trying, but it's about accomplishing now.
Yeah, it's they're held to different standards. And then the incomings now, these last 2 years, especially off the run, right? Off the run, we got the coach. People are watching and are seeing. Everybody's making comments about Arsenal. We got other players over the summer. The whole Instagram carousel, the whole Instagram carousel was Arsenal and all that. Our brand is at the most attractive. And almost for every single signing, the last 2 windows, the last 2 years, it's been our backup guys.
It's not been difficult. It's not been the signings ain't been difficult to pull off.
How is it that you've got your most leverage? People are dying to come, but it's every single transfer you're settling for your backup. Trossard, backup, Mudryk. I mean, that was it was absolute insanity. And then are they fighting with Arteta? I mean, you can kind of see from the start when Edu joined. It was when you can tell the people that were signing, the agents that were working with. It was his friend. What's his name? Kia Eruption. His clients.
A lot of stopgap signings that ultimately were cheap, but they ended up being expensive because they weren't doing the job and they're here longer than they need to be.
The Cedrics, the David Luizes, the Martinellis, those are Edu's contacts. The Martinellis, the Marquinhoses. That's all through the one guy.
How you go to Brazil and come back through with Marquinhos? I don't know in this day and age, but fair enough.
Eruption, his best friend probably walked into his office, knocked in, saying, hey buddy, remember when we were good friends in grade 6? Well, guess what? I have this one kid for you. Kroenke has money. Oh, I want you. If you cut me in 10 mil, I'll cut you a little 1 mil cut for this kid. Oh, he was just listening to us.
You're taking that in the back of your pocket, man.
Bro, Eruption drained us. David Luiz, all those big bad contracts were all that guy. And then all of a sudden, it changed to you can tell exactly when it changed. And when you pointed out, Kai Havertz. Those are now Arteta signs. Kai Havertz, Timber.
That's why I think we need that David Dean, man. We need someone that stands on business, holds clout. Because let's be honest, we're in a unique position in that I know Jack Wilshere and Edu have left, but you had Jack Wilshere in the under-18s, you had Mertesacker controlling the academy, you had Edu who was working, to be fair, with the Brazilian FA, but was new to this sporting director role. You had Arteta, you had young players, you have everybody growing on the job, which again, there's an element of romance, and I think they have grown together. But I think that's unique. In an ideal world, I would have loved someone significantly more experienced than Edu to kind of guide Arteta. Like, I'm not saying Kai Havertz was a terrible signing, but imagine we didn't sign Kai Havertz. We signed the striker that we all wanted. Where would we be? We might still be in the same position, but
could have pulled the trigger on Gyökeres before his release clause went up.
And look at the squad, bro. Like the squad on one hand, I think it's been quite well assembled. I think it's been quite good. But when you look
a striker away.
Exactly, but when you flip it on its head and you're like, boy, if Saka don't do the business, there's not really that. You take Odegaard out, as well as us not being a creative side per se. Odegaard just, I don't know the word, but Odegaard's absence highlights the lack of creativity. You've got Martinelli and Trossard who are quite volatile. You've got Gabriel Jesus who's not doing his business. Zinni's been lapped. You know, you look through the squad, and it's not all the gaffer's fault, but ultimately this is what's been assembled. How many players do you bet on? Like, how many of those players can't really be upgraded upon? Like, you can't really upgrade on Saliba or Saka, for example, but the rest, and you don't really know what you're going to get for over a 38 campaign from a lot of them. And it's these questions for me, bro. When we can answer them, I'll be on YouTube with chess. We're winning Prem, we're winning champs. I think we've got enough to challenge. I think with a bit of luck, things can happen. But I do think we have this element, bro, of shooting ourselves in the foot, making things harder for ourselves. Just like now, at the end of the day, I don't think we're going to win the league title. A bit like you, I'm down in the dumps because of how we're playing, right? But there's 28 games. We're still in the league with League Cup, still in the FA Cup. There's a lot to play for, bro. So it's like, are we making things harder for ourselves? Even City, like even with City's form, does that give you a bit more confidence? Because they're kind of struggling as well. They got whooped yesterday. That man Gyökeres you mentioned as well doing the business.
Bro, killed them. Absolutely. He could have had more too. He could have had more. The thing about City is I'm just so conditioned. My brain is now just so broken that even if they win, factually, I think even if they lose factually, it's a win. So it's like City, they lost.
They're gonna go on a run, man.
Oh, they lost. They're still gonna win. Until I see them actually bottle, they're still gonna win. So right now, if you ask me who's gonna win the league, it's still gonna be City. There was some fishy. There you go. The best friend stuff. The best friend interruption. I'm really telling you, you can see when it, and I think that may be part of the reason why it changed. Because maybe they were seeing that Edu is dealing with shady guys and is screwing us over. I don't know, but
what if Edu had different ideas, bro? Like in another world, he had different ideas and he just felt his voice wasn't being heard, and he thought, you know what, got a good offer, can kind of leave with my head held high, because whatever people say, Arsenal have a platform. Whether we regress or progress, you can see there's a platform. We're kind of out of the trenches. We've got different problems. We've got privilege problems. What if you just said, you know what, it's been good, safe, I'm out of here?
That's actually probably the most likely outcome. That's actually what's most likely happened. I think he's just outgrown. He literally has just been offered a bigger role. He's now going to be in charge of, instead of just being in charge of sober reality, he's now going to be in charge of Olympiacos, Nottingham Forest, the whole network kind of thing. So it is a promotion in that sense. He's going to learn about different parts of different kinds of football, different parts of the world, and all that. And so it's a promotion for.
What do you make of this year? Because go on.
No, what I wanted to ask you, and so for his replacement, you said you wanted someone experienced. Would you entertain the thought of a former player to keep
man.
Because there was one that got me thinking, because I saw him at the last game. He was there with his family. One of my favorite, actually, probably my favorite player of all time. The reason I really got invested in Arsenal, Dennis Bergkamp.
Listen, big up Dennis Bergkamp, as a footballer, but fuck that as a director of football. Like, because you need to remove emotion in it. Unless you can show me what,
didn't he do it for Ajax?
I don't know what. Maybe I stand corrected, but I need to know you've been active in the game. Show me the contact book. Show me the rabbits you can pull out of your hat. Show me the competencies as a director of football. Of course, it'd be great to have Bergkamp, but show me the role. I'd rather take someone unknown that can do what, and I don't know who it is, the things we want. I just want a difference maker. Dennis Bergkamp, if you've got that, great. If not, I think we could do with you on the training ground in terms of shooting practice, but I'm not really for that. Of course, it will look nice, but unless you've been in that role, active, proven track record, and your name holds weight, which they will listen to your Dennis Bergkamp. Dead that for me, man. Dead. I'm not on that, so I'm not on that.
This comment's interesting. Got me thinking.
And that's what I wanted to ask you. What do you make of Arteta wants perfect signings? Because on one hand, I personally feel every manager wants that. On another hand, I do feel, the success to miss ratio for our signings or the difference makers has been a lot better. But at the same time, I agree with what he's saying. It feels like we always want this mythical kind of player where we're not
the
Real Madrid
total.
or City. Where fair
Listen,
enough, if that's what they want, great. But we surely there's players that improve us.
I'm an old school guy. I'm an old school guy. Um, this I hate saying this, and it sucks because it was a rival. He was a rival, but one of the guys I admire is Jose Mourinho because of how he operates, old school. And I feel like that. That's he's right that Arteta does want the perfect signing, which is the fascination with it seems like the La Masia, the Pep thing, the total footballer in every single position.
I wish he was like that. He just focused on two players, man, that are fighters, man. I want to see us pass some balls around in the middle of the park.
In every single position, you should be able to do every aspect of football. No, when I was growing up, we had specialists. You had people that for example, who can I use? You have people like Duncan Ferguson. You think Duncan Ferguson is doing step overs? No. You put in a long ball into his head, he brings it down and he hits. Yeah, that kind of deal. You had every single position had a specialist. Whereas now, I guess with the evolution of, I guess Guardiola is the one that started the trend, and everybody's trying to be a disciple, and we're falling into that trap. Yes, and that I think in our case is a curse, because we now go from, instead of getting an actual goal scorer, getting an actual goal scorer for striker, we now go from that to now, Havertz, the complete footballer who can play striker.
He's a jack of all trades, not really a specialist of anything. And I don't want to get Havertz, because I actually feel Havertz is one of the first names on the team sheet. He's on the right player.
No, he's doing very well.
Yeah, like I wouldn't sign us just because I signed a striker doesn't mean I alienate him. But that's what I mean. It's like you're kind of giving me everything you can give me.
I just asked you one question to clarify. He's doing very, very well in what he's doing. But it's, you ask someone one question, and that just tells you, this answers this whole total footballer thing. This whole Arteta's looking for the perfect footballer. What position is Havertz?
Exactly. And even if you sign a striker, even though I don't think a striker should come in and be alienated, Havertz should be alienated. But obviously, if you sign that level raising striker, Havertz in theory plays less football, he's on the bench. So does that raise the question he goes more into midfield? Or do we persist with Kai Havertz, probably replace someone in the Jesus role like a deputy number 2? And I'm starting to believe, personally, in the ideal world, we sign a top striker, we sign a top left winger or a versatile winger. I'm starting to believe we're going to try and mimic Liverpool in that Kai Havertz stays playing up front. You find someone that can kind of put up Bukayo Saka numbers on the left. So yeah, like Havertz can do a lot of things, but you're not really a specialist. And you're not a bad guy. Yeah, like Havertz would be our Firmino. Obviously, he's nowhere near him in the technical level, but in terms of being a facilitator, and that's what I mean by Havertz. You're giving me all you can give me. Of course, the whole team at the moment is doing poor and whatnot, but you've already exceeded expectations for me. You've become one of the first names on the team sheet. Havertz, you are giving me all you can. It's now a case of just simply needing to upgrade on that. And that the same could be said for a couple of players, which is why, as much as I praise the way the squad's been assembled and the individuals and the good moments, I have to look at how it's been assembled as well, because I said it last year, it's a bit mad. Like the season before last, we got 80 plus goals, right? Last year, we got 90 plus. On the face of it, goals ain't an issue. We're clearly improving on the goal front. But when you break it down and you're sat there in May, in June, in July, in August, who are you betting on to bag, bro? Saka is the one that you're genuinely like, like if you don't score in issues. It's not that Trossard, Havertz, I don't know about Jesus, but it's not that these guys can't score goals. It's like they can, but you don't know. And there's too many unanswered questions. We used to be able to answer questions about clean sheets. At this moment in time, I don't know, but that's what I mean by it feels like we're shooting ourselves in the foot. It's a bit Disneyland Channel-esque. It's like we hope it's about to. We know it's not raining, but we know it's a rain forecast. And we know we should bring a jacket in case it rains. But it's like, I hope it doesn't rain. We're out in a t-shirt. When it rains, we're in problems. And we're getting
another t-shirt. Instead of buying a rain jacket, we buy another t-shirt.
Exactly. Prevention is better than cure, man. And it's that kind of stuff I don't think we've learned from. And clearly the club know you need to get a striker. I don't know the caliber of striker, but you tried for Sesko. I think, like everybody's saying in the chat, and me and you have spoken about it, Gyökeres is the name on everybody's lips. Like,
they didn't try. They didn't try for, and that's the thing. That's what I'm not buying. I'm not buying this whole we tried. They did not try hard.
Even if you tried, you didn't get it done. It don't mean much to me.
Exactly. They didn't try hard enough, because it just, for me, again, I think about it. It just does not make sense in my head. We are in terms of the last Lord knows how many years, the Arsenal brand towards players and stuff is at its most attractive. It's at its most attractive, bro.
Especially in the
Every
summer, man. Liverpool are
player
kind of
out
messing it
there,
up, but we were seen as the next best after City.
every player out there is out there saying, I want to go play. Arteta's a good coach. Arteta's a good coach. Arteta's a phenomenal coach. The Arsenal project is great. The Arsenal project is looking good. And then you tell me that you went out and you tried to get Sesko, failed, Gyökeres, failed, every single other target failed. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to all these other clubs and all that, right? They're big clubs in their own respective. You know, the people are gonna say, oh, they've won more titles than you, they've won this, that. Yeah, they're big clubs and all. But Arsenal has more money than all these clubs that these players that we're going for have. Like, our brand is attractive, we have more money. It shouldn't be set. We should be getting it done. There's no period. I can understand if you go the ones I understand is if you go to City and you fail to get Haaland. Understand if you go to Real Madrid, you fail to get Vinicius. Understand if you go to Manchester United because they're rivals, no, they also have money. If you fail to get Marcus Rashford, understandable. If you go to Liverpool, but I'm sorry, no disrespect or anything. Yes, they may have won titles in Spain, in Lisbon, and Portugal, wherever they're at, but the salary we can pay Gyökeres is more than the salary we can pay Sporting, than the salary Sporting can pay him. Period. Why the hell did we not buy?
Do you think we're complacent about the form of Kai Havertz and thought, you know what, we know we need a striker, but Havertz is doing his thing.
That was it.
We might not need it that much.
That was part of the reason. The part of the reason was the run of form. That's actually the double-edged sword that we fell on. The second that penalty went in from Havertz. That first penalty went in from Havertz. That
and
was
the rejuvenation of the player. Yeah,
that was goodbye to a striker right there. That was as you said a little earlier. We failing upwards. we
did start upwards. We got to be honest. We failed upwards with Kai Havertz. Like, I'm not going to be disrespectful to Arteta. Like, obviously, you know he's versatile.
He came to be an 8.
Yeah, but you tried to play him as an 8. It did not bang. Like, it didn't bang.
He was Granit Xhaka's replacement. That's what.
Yeah, which makes me look at it funny in itself. In that, you know, again, Arteta knows more about football than me, but Xhaka's actually decent with a football. Kai Havertz's strengths are off the ball, really.
Why did we get rid of Xhaka? Martinelli, that left side was working. Why did we get rid of Xhaka?
We love this sort of stuff, man. So what? Last question for you then. Like, how are you feeling about this week, man? I mean, we can't talk about Chelsea. Well, we can briefly talk about Chelsea, but tonight, massive game against Inter Milan. Won last year. Great manager in Inzaghi. You know, fantastic tactical stuff. San Siro. Where are you at, man? What does a loss do for you? Where are you at with the game at Inter? What are you expecting? Everything Inter,
brother. We need the Champions League. As I was jokingly saying on the thing that I do with my boys at Barstool, the Pitch Fix thing, is I'm an observer. I'm an observer for Arsenal in the Premier League because that's done. But I am a supporter for Arsenal in the Champions League. Champions League is what we need. That's what's gonna breathe some life back into the fan base.
We're too big of a club not to have that, man.
That bring life back into the fan base, and more importantly, this game, especially after what has gone. I mean, I think I said this for last week with the Newcastle game, the coming, but this game, this Inter game with the Chelsea with the Chelsea one this weekend coming up, with what's been going on in the Premier League, this Inter game has become even more important. Not only is it important in the Champions League, right?
Sets the tone.
If we win, we're at what? We're at 10 points.
Yeah,
we're at 10 points, looking good, right? That's good for Champions League. But the bigger thing that comes out of this game is the moral side of it, the moral W's or the moral L. I am praying it's a W because we need a moral W.
Need a boost, man.
Otherwise, if it's an L diluted, if it's a moral L,
it starts to get really dark, man.
It's even I the most optimistic and the most yeah, the most. I try to be optimistic about Arsenal. I will start saying stuff that I regret, that I'll immediately regret after and all that. It's yeah. I'm praying, bro. We need this, and I guess the Odegaard thing. I'm hoping he's fit enough to
How are you
start.
feeling about the midfield, man? Because obviously we've heard Declan Rice ain't travelled. What's gonna go on there? Partey could very well still play right back. I hope Partey's in midfield. Yeah, man. Odegaard, I don't know how many minutes you got in the tank as well.
So what I will say is I don't like Rice and so Partey. I've been saying this the entire season that Partey is the sixth. He's the best midfielder right now at Arsenal. Right. So Partey starts for me. Partey is the first name in midfield when everyone's
He's having a
fit
very
right
good
now.
season, man.
Yes. So what I haven't liked is Rice and Havertz being on the field at the same time. I don't know if Trossard has something to do with that too, but
Probably because not even anything to do with Trossard in particular. It's like we've had to move around parts of Arteta's team. Yeah, we ain't really been at firing
he
at our
interacts with them in that midfield, so he does have an influence. I don't know how big of his influence is, but I'm very curious to see Marino play in a game that Rice isn't, because I haven't seen much of Marino. Of course, it's been the 4 or 5 games or however many games that he's featured.
The jury's still out.
So I don't even know what kind of a player he is. This is still part of the process of trying to figure out what kind of player he is. In some cases, it felt like him and Rice were getting in each other's way. So Rice not playing in this game will be interesting to see how Marino does in that role.
I reckon we might see Kai Havertz in midfield today, bro.
Is now Odegaard going to come back and Trossard be out? That's the thing, that our midfield is going to be. That's what's going to be very interesting about this game.
I think Havertz is going to play in midfield tonight. I'll be real.
Who?
I genuinely think there's a chance Havertz plays in midfield
Today?
I don't know how long. I don't know how fit Odegaard is, but
and he starts Jesus as striker.
Probably, or you could play Trossard. You could play Trossard and Havertz and do that kind of hybrid thing.
The switch.
I look at if we're playing a back five. If these lot got a back five and their midfield is crucial, Barella's going to be in the 6. They've got Mkhitaryan and Kahagoglu.
They're killing it in Syria.
They're killing it, bro. Their centre halves overlap as well and gallop forward. They've got inverted fullbacks. We're gonna, our midfield is open. You need to get fighters in there, innit? So I think there's every chance Kai Havertz could play in midfield today. He might play Jorginho. Partey might be there dependent on Rice. It would have been nice for Calafiori to be fit just because we're in Italy, but I'm very keen to see what Mikel Arteta does today with no Rice. Because this is a game, I'll be real, where you don't really want to see Rice. Well, yeah, you've got Kahagoglu picking up 6 positions. You've got Barella doing the same. Inzaghi's a great coach, man. It's a great coach. And again, it's like this man here said, Barella in that role. Oof. I'm keen to see what the ball is going to decide it today.
Jesus won't start. He'll start both. He hates. He's been hating on Jesus this season. Jesus won't start. It'll be
rightly so, to be honest.
Jorginho's the one that I didn't think of. Because the thing is, I don't know how. I'll be honest, I haven't watched.
And even I
check the results. I don't watch
the crosses as well, bro. Like again, this is like what my man's commenting and saying. Yeah, I think of again, like I said, the overloads. Like you've got to put your best defensive attackers on, which to a degree is Odegaard. On paper, is Partey and Moreno. I think you probably need Martinelli to help you backwards. And Kai Havertz is needed and vital in a game like this. But one thing I do hope with these players, yeah, regardless of the sentiment around the club, all the praises I've been giving Inter. This is what you lot wanted. Forget Arsenal and where we wanted to be playing in these kind of games. You lot dreamed of playing in these historical stadiums. Now, Arsenal, people can run jokes. We're not serious in Europe. We ain't got the trophies and that. But one thing we do have is special nights. Ironically, at this very stadium with Thierry Henry and that. We all remember the Bernabeu, Jack Wilshere against Barcelona, a couple against Bayern Munich. This is you lot's time to have a special night. And as you said, a morale boost. If you can do it against Inter, I know no 2 games are the same, but if you can come away with something against Inter, you can therefore move to Chelsea. You can actually beat Chelsea up on Sunday like this. We've said this a couple of weeks, but it does feel like for me, it's make or break this week in terms of the tone it sets. Now, there's a reality which I don't want to see where you lose both these games. We still win something in May and we're laughing, but you need to stop the rut. In the same way, when you're winning games, you keep winning games. You've seen Arsenal go and run. Sometimes we won games we didn't even deserve to win. Likewise, when things go wrong, everything seems to be going wrong. And it's the midfield for me that needs to be spot on. Yes, there's been injuries, but it's the midfield where there's been the most issues under Mikel Arteta, who was a midfielder, and indirectly Edu, who was a midfielder.
You brought up a very interesting name that this season, each time he's gotten opportunities, like the last couple seasons, the guy's been stellar. And this season, he just hasn't had any opportunities. Jorginho.
Yeah.
You think he could maybe provide. I mean, because our midfield isn't working. Provide a spark, maybe provide.
I got a lot of heat for suggesting he should have played against Newcastle, even like in the build up to it. And that's because obviously the biggest fear with Jorginho is the legs. You get overrun in midfield, he can't win duels. But in terms of just being a calm head, being steady, passing the ball forward, you could argue a game like this, you know, again, into a very intense. But it's not the all-action, pointless running kind of Premier League game. And if there's one thing Jorginho thrives, it's these games in the top games that where it's chess matches. So he's an option, and he's one of our more experienced players, man.
Big game player. I don't know why he hasn't gotten more of a run.
I think it's just levels, isn't it? Rice, Moreno, Partey, they're all preferred. Our midfield is open anyways.
Each time he came in, especially even in the big games. In the big games, last few years, each time.
This is where Arteta's got to utilize that squad, my guy. He's got to utilize that squad.
It's not like he's coming in and performing, not like off like a run of games. He's coming in as a stopgap, and he's performing.
But this is why I said I wanted a midfielder in the summer. I think there's too much question marks over midfield. I think naturally with Partey's form, obviously it's that thing in the last year of your deal, you're playing out of your skin. Yeah. You could argue to give him a new deal, but his best days probably are behind him. He is declining, is on the wrong side of 30, right? The same with Jorginho. I like Moreno. I think you could do a bit of everything, but I see you a bit like Declan Rice in that you're a box-to-box ball-winning midfielder. I just want you to dominate play, pass it to the more silky guys. If you can add a bit of silk and do some silky things, that's great. I don't like the midfield that's been assembled, really, if I'm honest with you. I still think Partey and Rice is our best midfield trio. And we ain't really seen that. And you take Odegaard out, I think it just highlights the lack of creativity. We should still be able to create chances without Odegaard. There should be chances created throughout the whole team. There's teams below us that do that. I personally feel, I understand a bit of it, Zara, in that obviously we're missing key players. I do think there's a correlation with us improving defensively generally and being where we are. I understand that, but I feel like Arteta's pulled the handbrake a bit too much up, and we're in that weird place, bro, where we're very defensive, but we're not really good defensively. No matter how defensive you want to be, you need to score goals in this game. We don't really look like we can score goals. You're in this halfway house, which is why I think I'm on brand with you with the Newcastle game, in that it was poor from us. I think it was poor. I think we were rubbish, but at the same time, I look at it differently, bro. And I don't think it was poor. Like everyone's 2 out of 10. You're dropping clangers. I just think it was stale, lifeless, lacking intention, lacking invention, just going through the motions. A bit like what Mikel Arteta said in the second half against Liverpool. I'll be real. I think the Newcastle game lacked courage, and a lot of that's down to the managers. But I agree with what you said in that the players, bro, because as much as it's about the fans, about the manager or whatever, whether some of you leave and go play for Real Madrid or never play for a team better than Arsenal, of the caliber of Arsenal, it's you lot that are training week in, week out.
Have pride in what you do.
Jarring. Exactly.
Just have pride in what you do. Because as you said, you may want to leave. It's you are your resume. You yourself are your resume. So every time you're out there, just have pride in what you do, and they just weren't.
And again, I know things go wrong, but it's how you lose. Now, obviously, every defeat, you're going to say that sort of stuff. Of course, you know, sometimes you just have a bad day at the office. But for me, and what makes me mad is like what you're saying, the pride. I always say, I'd love to win every game. I hate losing. I hate drawing. But sometimes you've got to be gracious. And take nothing away from Newcastle. They deserve all of that, right? But if we applied ourselves 100%, Newcastle is better than us. Isaac scored from 30 yards or something crazy happened. Sometimes in life, you just have to go, cool. Newcastle didn't have to be at their best. That was, for me, it felt like a League Cup game there. They just turned up. We gave them opportunity, did what they needed to do, and they just kept it moving. We didn't defend well enough for the goal, let alone in general. We didn't win our midfield battles or have any solutions in midfield. We had one shot on target. Is that how you want to play to win a game? And is that the performance that you can put in against Newcastle? We all know what to expect Newcastle away. You know it's a physical encounter, and it weren't that really. Like, the only saving grace is that there's 28 games. Now, I might look back at this period and say, this is where the league was won or lost. This is where it went even worse for Arsenal. This is where, you know, we were courageous. We went and won the league. It's down to these players to write whatever narrative. And also the manager. Like, on one hand, I don't like the form that we're in. I don't like that, but I always try and be balance with balance, optimistic. There's a lot of games. There's 28 game weeks. If you go beat Chelsea, win the next 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games, people aren't necessarily going to think about this. Like, what, we've got 10 Premier League games. Think about all the narratives and talking points, not just for Arsenal, but for the whole Premier League, or maybe even in Europe, in these 10 weeks. It's down to us. But again, we shoot ourselves in the foot, bro.
Yeah. And I don't know when and where we're gonna get out of this. I'm hoping it's
Trust me.
game. It's just, I'm praying it's this Inter game, but in reality, San Siro, man. An Inter team playing well.
Italy's a nasty place to go, man. If you're on the away side, San Siro, football heritage, man. It's a massive pitch, it's a massive stadium, a massive atmosphere. I don't know how far even the atmosphere thing goes, because I know the vast majority of our players, broski. I know the vast majority of our players have just started playing Champions League, but through Europa and Champions League, in these grounds, bro. They played in atmospheres like this. Obviously, the San Siro, but you lot have gone to
Europe is San Siro, bro.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, but you've gone San Siro, you've gone Portugal, obviously away from San Siro being the magical of football. Every European game, probably excluding Liverpool in this country, all the European grounds, whether it's Eastern Europe, whether it's Italy, whether it's 2 degrees, Spain, they all got this atmosphere. A lot of you have played in scenarios like this, whether it was last season or, you're the Havertzes, the Jorginhos, the Sterlings, Zinnies, Jesus.
Yeah, we're Champions League experience. Yeah.
So how far does that go? If you're young Ethan and them, man, I understand if you're shook. I get it. Not for the you lot now. Part A, you've been in these scenarios. You play for Atletico, another nasty place to go. Yeah. Today's not the day to feel sorry for us. I'll be absolutely real, man.
I expect a dub.
Expectations are scary, man. So my last thing for you, Denzel, man. Prediction for today. I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to say 2-1 Arsenal, man. Let's talk. I'm going to talk positivity into the air. I'll take a point though.
I'll do 2. I'll give you my heart and my head.
Go through, man.
Head is going to be a draw.
I'll take a point. I hope it.
I think we're going to score. I think we will score in both my scenarios. Because we're playing against just a completely different team, different style, different place, and also I think we can do something. Can we win? I like that 2-1. I like that.
I'm trying to talk into
2-0. Screw it. 2-0. Win clean sheet.
Clean sheet.
Win clean sheet.
Inform Thuram and Lautaro Martinez. I can see a Kai Havertz head up. I can see us scoring a Buki goal.
Maybe not 2-0. 2-0. Screw it. 2-0.
You know what? I hope you're right, man. It's always uplifting speaking to you and whatnot about football. It's unfortunate that, how we feel going into these streams are dictated by what our team do. Let people know they can find you before I let you get out of here, man. Big respect for tuning in.
At the Midget Zimbo everywhere. So that's TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, at the Midget Zimbo. I also do a podcast named Pitch Picks. Here it's on the Barstool Gambling page. So if you just go on the Barstool Gambling, we do episodes whenever the game week. So we do a prediction episode, and then if the game week ends on Sunday and there's no Monday night football, it'll be out Monday. But if it does Monday, we record after the game, then Tuesday morning it comes out. So that's where I'm at. And Diluted, likewise, man. I say this every time. Very few people I really enjoy talking Arsenal with. You're one of them. So this is always enjoyable, like always.
You're far too kind, man. Zah, hopefully the next time we speak, we've got a couple of W's. Obviously, it's the international
win, man.
We need to, and it's the international break next week, which fair enough, it's only a week. But as we saw with the last one, it adds an extra sour taste in your mouth, losing. And
is Odegaard going to go? Sorry.
No, apparently he's not been named. Thank the Lord. Apparently he's not been named in the Norway squad.
The Norway squad is out?
Yeah, but he's not in it. He's not in it. So yeah. Thank the Lord. Thank whatever religion or God or gods you know. Yeah. But then you've got Rice, which I don't trust Arteta at the moment.
Bro,
with injuries.
How can that coach, man? That coach also caused me stress for no reason. How can he be talking spicy literally the day after? Oh, I'm going to pick him for the next squad the day after he got injured. Like, what are you talking about, dude?
To be fair, I can't blame him. Respectfully to Norway, because they got some good players, but
the timing of that.
Yeah, no, the timing. Yeah, no. I'm with you.
Yes, I understand. yes, I understand you understand football and you know the timelines of these injuries, but us fans, when someone gets injured,
We don't want to hear that. It was
you think
tone
he's
deaf.
out for the entire season.
It was mad tone deaf. Even today, Mikel Arteta was like, we actually got Odegaard back sooner than I thought. Now, I can't lie, at this particular period in time, I am not fond of hearing Mikel Arteta talk about injuries, bro. You're telling one truth and then one lie. It's got to the point now, for the next few games, I'm just dealing with when we go on the match, who's on the bench, who's involved, because you've hoodwinked a lot of us and you're quite like Wenger in that. So, listen, let's just hope, man. Now, the only sour thing is Odegaard's back. Rice is injured, but yeah, Zar said where to follow him. Again, of course, he's going to be back on the platform. As I said, hopefully things get better, Arsenal fans. I'm sure you lot have agreed and disagreed with a lot of what we said, so let us know your thoughts. But on that note, people, I'm out. I'm back at 7 p.m. to do a watch along. So yeah, credit to Zar. Make sure you're following him on everything. Peace, my guy.
Come on, Arsenal. Peace out, bro.
Amen.